welcome back, guys, to another episode of Questbound Reader. Guys, happy New Year's, and I hope you guys had a blast. I hope you guys have had a good start to 2024. Today, I'm doing something different, and that is I am sharing with you guys the top books that I'm going to be reading this year on my TBR. In this, there are 11 new series that I'm going to be starting this year. And these series are, some of them are very long, some of them are kind of short. But yes, I will get to them little by little. I wanted to talk to you about how I'm ranking these. My top 10 are for sure the top 10 books I'm going to start this year, or series that I'm going to start this year. These will be started this year no matter what. I promise you guys. My will read section are books that I know that I will read in between these other books. My potentially series or section is books that I'll potentially read if I get a chance to them. The low chance is the books that I'm probably not going to read, but I still want to read if I have a chance. And the on my radar are books or series that I'm going to be starting hopefully soon, but I can't guarantee that they'll make it into this year. But I do want to read them at some point. Okay. Um, let's start from the top here. I am gonna, and some of these images are cut off. I don't know why they're cut off. I tried playing with this for a while and I just couldn't. For some of the books just downloaded weird. I don't know. Maybe it's because of my new. I don't know. I'm just not even gonna try to guess why it's that. Anyway, I'll give you guys the titles of the books. I'll look around. I have them here on my other monitor. All right, I digress. Let's start. Okay. I want to start with the Wandering Inn, Book 7, The Reigns of Liscor. Now, I absolutely love The Wandering Inn. If you've been following this channel, you know that I love The Wandering Inn. It is my favorite ongoing series of all time. The reason it is not in my top 10 is because I know that The Wandering Inn is my default pick for most things when I have a reading slump. I know that I'll get at least a 4.5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 rating for that book. I think of the last 6 books that I've read, I've given a 5-star rating for 5 out of the 6, which is probably my highest rated series thus far. And the other one got like a 4.5, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, I do want to start that. Next is On Lavender Tides. I am going to put this in my top 10 because I want to start reading this. This is a series that it's a progression fantasy series from what I've heard. I don't know much more about it than that, but it is a book a series that I've really wanted to start. I love anything that has to do with progression fantasy or anything like that. So it is for sure a series that I wanted to start for a really long time. Excuse my dogs if you hear them barking. I think there's the garbage outside. Anyway, On Lavender Tide is a series that I've really wanted to start reading for a while. And I think it's going to be really exciting. I'll have the actual full title pulled up here on the side in a bit, especially for the ones that cut off. So don't worry about that. And I think that's going to be the case for most of them. So yes, do not worry. I will take care of that. The next is the Murderbot Diaries. I want to start reading the Murderbot. They're short books, and I feel like I can get through them in one sitting for the most part. And I've heard mixed things about these. Some people like the start of the books. Some people say that it gets repetitive moving onward. However, most of these books are about 100 and something pages, so I'll use them as buffers in between like potential reading slumps, or in between like I want to read something on the go, or for any trips that I have planned. But this is a series that I will potentially start reading this year. Yeah. Okay. Another series, and this one is coming up in my top 10, is The Grace of Kings. I know nothing. I absolutely nothing aside that it is an Asian inspired series. That's it. That's all I know. And I know that it's gotten a lot of great reviews from a lot of booktubers. And that makes me really excited because I love, reading good books. Who doesn't, right? So a lot of you guys have been giving this a 5-star rating, and it piqued my interest. And I said I'll give it a go, and if I hate it, well, at least I gave it a shot. Next is, pre-word, right? I've never read anything by Robin Hobb. And I want to start reading the entire realm of the Elderlings. So I am gonna start hopefully soon with Assassin's Apprentice. And that is in my potential series that I'm gonna start this year. I want to read the entire realm of the Elderlings. There's no way I'm gonna do that in 1 year. Just because it's I think it's about 16 books. And that's a lot. and I don't want to overcommit to a series that I might dislike. I know that it's broken up into four or five different sub series, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go with four. I think it's four sub series, and some of them have better reviews. I know the Life Ship Trader ones is probably the highest rated amongst the BookTube community. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I've heard nothing but good things about this series. I hear that Robin Hobb is the queen of writing characters, and I've heard that these books are slow paced and they really build their characters well. This makes me nervous because I like action, lots and lots of action, and I like fast paced things. So this will be a change of pace for me, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. Okay, next, and this is another series that a lot of people have said is life changing, and that is the Malazan series. I'm going to put it in my top 10. I am going to for sure start this series in the first quarter of 2024. Malazan Book of the Fallen, starting with Guardians of the Moon, and I'm very very excited about this. I've heard that it is a cluster bomb of everything, and you're dropped in the middle of page 1,000 of like a 1,500 page book, and you have to figure out what's going on, and you eventually pick up on all these things. But yes, I am very excited to start my last Book of the Fallen. Hopefully, I like it. Hopefully, I'm not completely lost. Anyway, let's move on. This is a new series that I actually found recently. It's called Kraken Rider Z. I know that it's a progression fantasy, and I really want to start reading it this year. So I'm going to put it in my will read section. I don't know anything about this aside from its progression fantasy, and it has really good ratings on Goodreads. Several people on BookTube have covered it, but it's very underhyped. I don't know if it's good or deserving of the hype that it doesn't have. Maybe it's under deserving, and that's why it's not mentioned much. Anyway, it's one that I really want to read. I will. This next one is, I guess it is fantasy, but it's not super fantasy ish. And that is Lancelot. This is part of the Arthurian Tales. I absolutely love anything to do with like Merlin, Arthur, anything for. I used to watch these movies growing up, like with my dad. With all these like movies, and they were great. I absolutely love them. It brings me back good memories of anything that has to do with my family, and for that reason alone, I really want to start this book. And I've heard that of all of the retellings of King Arthur and the knights associated, the one by Giles Christian is one of the best ones. So this is something that I will potentially start reading this year, and I'm excited for it. Okay, so the next one is the Combat Codes, another series that is a progression fantasy that's for sure in my top 10. I've heard nothing but praise for this book. I am really excited for it. This is like a martial arts inspired progression fantasy, which gives me the vibes of the Iron Prince, and makes me really excited for it. So yes, I definitely want to start the series. I don't know much about it at all. Once again, aside the fact that I do want to read it. What is next? Let's see here. We have Empire of the Damned. This is something that I am for sure going to read. So I'm going to put it in my will read. This is the continuation to Empire of the Vampire. It was a 5-star rating for me. I absolutely loved Empire of the Vampire. It's probably one of the best books I read in 2023. And this Empire of the Damned comes out soon, so I'm planning on making time for to read it right when it comes out. Is my plan. Next is Blackest Heart. This is the continuation of the Five Angel Warriors. The Forgetting Moon is the first one. There's a low chance I'm going to read this one this year. And hear me out. It's not because I didn't like the first one. I did. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a good book. But there are so many other books that I really want to read that I know for sure I want to invest my time in reading, that this is on a lower priority. However, I did think that The Forgetting Moon was a great book. Brian Lee Durfee was amazing in this book. I really encourage you guys to read his books. Give it a shot. Anyway, next is The Wolf. Now, I had this on my YouTube page. I had made a poll of what book I was going to read next. I had put the Combat Codes, the Wolf, the Grace of Kings, and the 11th Cycle. The 11th Cycle won. I think the second closest one to was the Combat Codes. But yes, The Wolf is another book that I really want to read. It's in my top 10 because I want to at least start it this year. It is. I have no idea what it's about. I know that it's semi-political. I know that there's a good amount of action. I know that a lot of people have favored this series. It says that there is some historical fantasy to it, so it sounds interesting to me. I don't know. Actually, I think I'm gonna move this down to potentially. I'm gonna bring this down to potentially because I don't know that I'm gonna have all the time in the world to read it, and I know that I'm not gonna put it at the top of my list, um, because I have these four so far that I'm gonna start, and I know that the Malazan series, if I like it, is a bunch of books, just like on Lavender Tides, and I know that for sure. If I like this Wandering In, which I almost guarantee that I will, I want to read at least another one this year to keep up with my trend. So yes, um, moving on, I have Howling Dark, which is book number 2 in the Sun Eater series. I loved Empire of Silence. It is my favorite sci-fi book that I've ever read in my life. This is a book that I definitely will read this year, 2024. I am super excited for it. I am very, very, very excited for it. I don't know what it's about. I haven't read anything regarding that, but I hope it continues right where we left off in book 1. On the Shoulders of Titans is the second book in the series, the Arcane Ascension book, first being Sufficiently Advanced Magic. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I recommended that series to you guys. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was a really, really, really fun book. And I'm excited. I'm excited with how it left off. So this is another book that I am going to continue in my top 10 for sure. Okay. Next is the first book that I'm going to put on my radar. And this is the Bone Ship series. Now, I've never read anything by this author. I've heard great things about him, and I've heard great things about the series. Now, I've never read any marine inspired books that I've loved, and for that, I put it on my radar. Now, there is a good chance that I'll read it. Um, if some of these other books fall through, or if I DNF any of these, there's a really good chance that I'll probably start this one as my backup, just to read. I like reading. So I like reading the first book in the series rather than the second one if I have an option. Because if the first one was like an okay book for me, and the second one might be up for grabs, but I don't know anything about another series that's potentially really good, I'd rather read that other series in hopes that it is like a 5-star, or at least a 4-star read for me. That's why I want to put this here on my list. Next is Blood Over Bright Haven. I have absolutely no idea what this book is about, aside from the fact that a lot of people have emailed me or messaged me saying, "Hey, give this book a shot." So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna put it in my low chance, because I have no idea what this is about. I know that it has great reviews. I know that it has a lot of action, and I know that those are the things that I like. So it has a chance. There's a low chance. If again, depending on how this TBR moves around, there's a low chance that I'll read it. Um, the same thing goes for the Justice of Kings. I'm gonna actually put this one on my radar. I've never read anything by this author. I've never read anything like this book at all. I know that it is a retelling of the main character's life, from the perspective of, I believe, someone else close to him. That's about all I know. I know that he is the judge, jury, and executioner of his realm, and that's pretty much all I know. Okay, next is the Umbral Storm. There's a really good chance that I'm going to read this year. I'm going to put it in my top 10. Why not? I read that it was a progression fantasy and that it was amazing. Um, so yes, I'm gonna read this. I am gonna start it this year for sure. So yeah, let's move on to Gods of the Weirdwood. I have no idea what this is about. I've heard good things about it. So I'm gonna put in my potential reads. I know that there are gods involved. I know that it is um, slightly dark. I know that there's good amount of action in it, and that's all I've really been told. And I'm excited for that. I really am excited for that. Okay, next is a book that probably not many of you have heard, and that is Amelia, the Level Zero Hero. This is a series that I want to start. For sure, I want to start this year. I've heard mixed things about it, so I have mixed feelings about it. But it is progression fantasy, and I love progression fantasy. I've said it once, I'll say it again. It's one of my favorite things ever. So I'm gonna give it a shot, and if I hate it, well, I hate it, and if not, and if I love it, I'll let you guys know, and you guys can go ahead and read it too. Next is probably one of okay. So listen, all right. I've never read Brandon Sanderson. I tried reading Mistborn. I couldn't get into Mistborn. It wasn't for me. I'm not a huge like book one of Mistborn is a heist, and I've said it before. I'm not good with heist stories. I loved the magic system. I think I got halfway through Mistborn. I loved the magic system. I think it was great. It was unique, but it just didn't click for me, and maybe I wasn't in the right mindset to read it, but it wasn't for me at the time. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and skip all of Mistborn, and I'm going to start with The Way of Kings, and I'm going to put this on my top 10. I for sure want to start reading The Way of Kings. I know it's a chunker of a book, but I want to dedicate the time to read it. I think I'm going to actually really enjoy it. And yeah, that makes me excited. So I have a top 10 here. Um, there's only 8 books. And that's why. I'll tell you why. It's because I changed my mind on 2 books as I was scoring them. So I was initially going to put Kraken Rider Z up here, and I was also going to put The Wolf in my top 10. But I changed my mind. And I changed my mind why? Because I thought, well, The Way of Kings believe the 5th book is coming out soon. So the books are chunky. I know it's going to take me a while to get through them. I know that On the Shoulders of Titans or the Arcane Ascension series is a long series, and I like it. So I know that I'm going to want to read at least 2 or 3 books this year. I'm hoping that I like Malazan, and I can get to at least 2 or 3 books this year. And the same thing for On Lavender Tides. I know for sure I am gonna read Empire of the Damned and The Holland Dark for sure, 100%. Like I am gonna read them. I know that I'm gonna read Book 7 of The Wandering Inn, and I'm gonna start Kraken Rider Z. So I already have a bunch of books there that I know I'm gonna like. I know I'm gonna read at least the first book. Um, I want to say that I'm gonna have enough time to read, Bone Ships, The Justice of Kings. I mean, there's not a boatload of books here, right? I can definitely get through all these books this year, just not all the books in the respective series. So it all depends. And I am a mood reader. I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes I'm reading, like, for example, I'll read like something like The Wandering Inn, and which most of the books are at a minimum like 1,000 pages, and then I'll need like a palate cleanser, and I'll read like Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I should have put it on this list. For sure I would have put it in my top 10 because I'm gonna read Dungeon Crawler Carl, book 4 soon. But yeah, I'm also in the middle of reading the 11th Cycle. I didn't add it here because it's not anything new that I'm going to start reading, but it's something that I'm currently reading. I'm about almost halfway through it, and I'm really enjoying it. It's gonna be a good review. I'm hoping it's gonna be a good review. But yeah, that if I would have added this, it would have been in my top 10. The 11th Cycle, just because I recently started. I had a really rough reading month in December because of family members that were over and whatnot. But anyway, here are my 21 books that I am promising you are going to be in my TBR, with the exception of the Bone Ships and the Justice of Kings, which are potential reads. But everything else, I'm gonna at least give a shot. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys like videos like this, I can go ahead and create more. I can do like tier list of my favorite books that I read this year and kind of rank them like this. Just give me a shot. Give me a shout out. Let me know what you guys think. If there's any feedback, if you guys know how to rearrange the little icons so that the entire titles come up, that'd be great advice. I have no idea how to do that. I tried messing around with them. Watch it be something simple as like settings. Nope. Nope, not settings. All right. But yeah, this is, again, like I said, this is my first time doing this. And if you guys liked it, let me know. Give us a thumbs up, a like, comment, whatever. I hope I've earned your subscription. We are at the time of recording this video at 99 subscribers. We're almost at 100. Guys, it's been a crazy ride. The channel's grown slowly, but I really appreciate it because I feel like the people that are watching this are organic followers, not just people who follow and then just never watch videos. So I like that. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. And yeah, thanks for watching. Follow along in the journey, and thanks for being part of the Questbound crew, gang, whatever you want to call it. As always, my name is Javi. I hope you guys are having a great one, and see you on the next one. Take care.